You're with the hard facts from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime Studio. Viewers, there's been a major turning point with regard to the claim made by Hindus in the Krishna Janambhoomi matter. The Allahabad High Court has ruled in favor of Hindus in a decisive intervention against the Muslim side. The Hindus have laid claim to the Krishna Bhumi. They claim that the birthplace of Lord Krishna was snatched away from the majority community in a documented act of Islamic bigotry. The temple that stood on the hallowed ground was demolished to make way for a mosque in a sinful perpetrated by the forces of Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. The Muslim side that maintains the mosque built atop the Krishna Bhumi had challenged the Hindu claim, citing the 1991 Places of Worship Act. The 8C order now paves the way for determining the religious character of the disputed spot. Let me just take you through what transpired in the Allahabad High Court today. First things first, the Allahabad High Court ruled against the Muslim side's plea against the maintainability of the case filed by the Hindus. 18 of those pleas have now been upheld as maintainable by the Allahabad High Court. The Muslim side argued that suits were barred by Places of Worship Act that was brought onto the books in 1991 by a Congress government. The High Court refuted the argument of the August 15, 1947 cut-off via the Places of Worship Act. The Hindu side claims no property called Shahi Eidgah exists in the government records. The Hindu side claims that the Mughal-era mosque was built after demolishing a temple. The Allahabad High Court verdict paves the way for a trial on religious character of the site. Now viewers, the 1991 law is also being challenged for its dubious legal credentials. Then Congress government of P.V. Narasimha Rao had promulgated the law that places a restriction that mostly impacts Hindus. The law deems it illegal for any claim on a place of worship that may alter its character from what it was on August 15, 1947. Now viewers, this particular intervention by the Congress party to bring this law was seen as a political one, an act born out of a degree of minorityism, appeasement politics, to put it in simpler terms. Many top legal minds like Vishnu Shankar Jain, who actually got the favorable order today for the Hindu community, believe these clauses in the 1991 Place of Worship Act are arbitrary, irrational. Retrospective cutoff date cannot be something that can be upheld in law. That's what his contention is. There's an unjustified bar on remedies for encroachment, blocks judicial redress on historical injustices. Viewers, we're all equal in the eyes of the law. And the law is very simple. In its natural state, it says that all of us have a right to seek judicial redressal. How can anyone be barred from seeking judicial redressal? If they are barred and if they have a grievance, where do they go, viewers? This is out of whack with the basic structure of our Constitution, of the rights that the Constitution affords us. Beyond which, the Place of Worship Act, it is said, condones barbaric pre-independence acts of invaders, and it was passed without consulting the affected communities. With the bar on examining the character of the Krishna Janambhoomi gone, Hindus are confident of reclaiming their revered place of worship. In fact, viewers, they are confident because there is a lot of evidence now available that shows that the Krishna Janamsthan was bona fide Hindu place of worship. You have the order of Aurangzeb, 1969-1970, in which it is detailed that a demolition of a large number of Hindu religious places and temples, including the temple standing at the birthplace of Lord Sri Krishna at Katra Keshav Dev in Mathura. The army of Aurangzeb succeeded to demolish the Keshav Dev temple, and a construction was raised named as the Eidgah Mosque. This is part of the order. The Masir-e-Alamgiri, the history of Aurangzeb, official court bulletin, January-February 1670, says the emperor, the reviver of the faith of the prophet, issued orders for the demolition of the Dehura of Keshavarai in Mathura. In a short time, the destruction of this strong foundation of infidelity was accomplished, and on its site a lofty mosque was built. The idols, large and small, of the temple were brought to Agra and buried under the steps of the mosque of Begum Shahi in order to be continually trodden upon. That was a level of cruelty, viewers. The Masir-e-Alamgiri goes on to note that the name of Mathura was changed to Islamabad. Italian traveller's account from Aurangzeb's court, Nicola Manucci, book Storia do Mogar, 1653 to 1708, details several important places, including the Krishna Janambhumi and Mathura, were demolished by Aurangzeb. Thereafter, Hindus thronged the sacred site and started worshipping as they were doing in the past. Historian Jadunath Sarkar, in his book Anecdotes of Aurangzeb, 1917, says, and I quote, in April 1669, he ordered the provincial governors to destroy the temples and schools of the Brahmins and to utterly put down the teachings and religious practices of the infidels. The grandest shrine of Mathura, Kesav Rai's temple, built by the Bundela Raja Bir Singh Dev, was razed to the ground in January 1670, and a mosque was built on the site. There's a lot that goes on, viewers. Let's open this up. Let's ask some fundamental questions. The most obvious one here now is, given that the Muslim side has suffered a massive setback, what really are the implications? Vishnu Shankar Jain, let me bring you in first and talk us through, number one, what happened in court today. You are, of course, to be congratulated because you're being representing the Hindu side in this matter and you've got a favorable order. Is it a game-changing one? And if it is so, why is it so?
See, definitely, Rahul, in any civil suit, the most important stage of the civil suit is to cross the stage of Order 7, Rule 11. Because if the suit is dismissed on the ground of Order 7, Rule 11, the suit itself is not maintainable, and then it's dismissed at the threshold. And that was precisely the effort of Shahi Eidgah Masjid, that to see that this is nipped in the bud and this does not move forward for more reasons than one. The point is this, that before the Honorable High Court today, the issue which transpired was that the argument of Shahi Eidgah Masjid is in suits by Places of Worship Act, Waqf Act, Limitation Act 1963, Specific Relief Act, and Order 23, Rule 3A. These are the 5 laws which were cited by the Shahi Eidgah Mosque before the Honorable Allahabad High Court. After detailed hearing of 4 months, the Honorable Allahabad High Court has rejected the application of Order 7, Rule 11 filed by Shahi Eidgah Masjid. And precisely two things are very important, which is our bone of contention. To defeat the argument of Places of Worship Act, 2 points are there, Rahul. First of all, let me tell you, Shahi Eidgah Mosque is under the control of Archaeological Survey of India. If any monument is under the control of ASI, under the Places of Worship Act, Section 4, Subclause 3, it is mentioned that the Places of Worship Act will not apply. So that is point number 1. Point number 2, Places of Worship Act, Section 4, Subclause 1 and 4, Subclause 2 uses the word religious character. So our argument was, our contention before the Honorable High Court was that Places of Worship Act gives the freedom to determine the religious character by way of a lawsuit, by way of evidence in the court. And this interpretation was accepted by the Honorable Allahabad High Court Coordinate Bench in Gyanvyapi case on 19th of December 2023 by Honorable Mr. Justice Rohit Ranjan Agarwal. A very detailed judgment is there. So that was another bone of contention. Point number 2, on the aspect of Waqf Act, we had given a lot of research before the Honorable High Court. And research is this, that the effort of Shahi Eidgah Mosque was that this case should travel before the Waqf Tribunal, which is a Sharia court, and it should not be tried before the Honorable Allahabad High Court. We had cited the judgment of Supreme Court in 1979, 3-judge bench judgment, as well as the judgment of Supreme Court in 2010, Ramesh Govindram's case and Board of Muslim Waqf's case. In both the cases, the Honorable Supreme Court has held that if one party is non-Muslim, on that the notification of Waqf will not apply. So
Right.
these were the factors on the basis of which I think, and on the basis of this research, this particular judgment has been delivered by the Honorable.
So let me ask you now. Obviously, there are large number of places of worship that are protected by the ASI, Vishnu Shankar Jain. So does that open the doors to determine the character of those places of worship also, which may be taken away from the Hindus in the past?
Very interesting question you have asked, Rahul. And the answer is in the ASI Act 1958. Under Section 16 of the ASI Act 1958, it is a mandate given to the ASI by the Parliament that ASI will not do anything in any property which is under its control, which is a shrine or any religious structure, against its religious character. And therefore, in Bhoshala's case, by virtue of this word religious character, the Honorable Division Bench of the Indore High Court had directed the ASI survey, which went on for 98 days, and ultimately the report has been filed. So the mandate given to the ASI under the ASI Act is that you will not do anything against a protected monument, which is a shrine, mosque, or a temple, which is against its religious character. So, what is the religious character of Shahidgah Mosque? This can be ascertained by the ASI. And let me also tell you that when it's a ASI protected monument, ASI has full powers to do the survey, to do the excavation. They do not need the court orders, and they can proceed with the matter because its property is within their domain and
And
control.
you said that this is what's clause of the ASI Act of 1958?
Section 16.
Section 16. So viewers,
1-6.
yeah, so this basically suggests that perhaps other Hindu groups could move applications to determine the religious characters of other places that of worship that are disputed, viewers, after today, citing this Allahabad High Court order. Yes, Vishnu Shankar Jain, am I right or am I wrong?
Yes, absolutely wrong. These are precedents which are laid down.
Theoretically, viewers, the Hindu community can now move forward with greater confidence. Okay, let's open this up because Rahul Ishwar is there with us also. We have Kamru Chaudhary. Kamru Chaudhary represents the Congress party point of view. Now, Mr. Chaudhary, look, this 1991 Congress era shield for Muslims, and I'm not only saying Muslims, but predominantly it would have helped Muslims most. So that is why I've used that term selectively. Don't hold it against me. So I'm cutting to the chase, so to speak, being exact. This shield now is crumbling. And I want to ask you, since there is now a precedent to go ahead and determine the religious character of disputed sites, would you still say that it should not be done? Should now Hindus move forward? There are about 30,000 disputed temples, apparently. And their antecedents, the Hindus claim, are very much desecrated, have been taken over by the Muslim community, etc. Now this gives us hope to move forward and open those doors to investigate what lies beneath. Would you support that kind of inquiry, Mr. Kamru Chaudhary?
Yeah, Rahul, we are treading on thin ice. Let us not call this a dispute between Hindu side and a Muslim side. Let us not create further divisions within the society for what happened around 500 years ago. My first point of view. My second point will be, the taking advantage of the ambiguity in the Places of Worship Act 1991, the basic intent with which the law was framed cannot be simply wished away by manipulating the majoritarian opinion and igniting centuries-old passion based on astha and devoid of facts. Why I say this? You have just now said the Archaeological Act, SI Act of 1958. That means anything prior to that. That is, we attained the independence. Our Indian civilization started from 1947 as an independent nation. And we all agreed as per 1991 Act that any dispute bearing the the Ram Janmabhoomi dispute, everything has to be decided on the basis of the Places of Worship Act 1991. The religious character of that place has to be ascertained. Now, where is the ambiguity? Ambiguity is the clause B of that, which debars anything that is under an ASI protected monument or of national importance that cannot be falling under this This is an ambiguity which the present Narendra Modi government must immediately correct, and the
Oh,
Places of Worship Act must be amended to protect these historical places of worship or historical monuments, so that every mosque or every temple in the country cannot be under the rule of the fanatics trying to reclaim what Aurangzeb did or some other Mughal ruler did some 4 to 500 years
okay. But
ago.
now one
As
second.
RSS
Let
chief
me
has
bring
said,
in.
let me
Let me
just
bring
finish.
in. Okay.
Let me just finish.
Yeah.
As RSS chief has said, please do not look for a temple under every mosque in the
Yes, I
country.
quoted them.
It
I
will
quoted him
offer.
in my book also. I quoted him in my
Yeah,
book, but
yeah. I
there
have read
was a
your book
proviso.
also.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
No, thank you, Kamru Saab. But I just have to say at this point, look, you said that let's not make this a matter of dispute between two communities. Now, Rahul Ishwar, before I bring in Vishnu Shankar Jain on the point of law that Kamru Chaudhary has raised, I just want to bring you in. Rahul Ishwar, there would be no dispute if the contending occupying side would give up its claim, especially in those places of worship where it's quite apparent what has happened.
Rahul Shivshankarji, two submissions. First of all, beneath every mosque, beneath every church and every temple is the soil of India that we stand on. Let us remember that and debate on this very sensitive issue. I think that's a fair position to start with. Second, there are various hues of positions inside the Hindu community regarding this sensitive matter. Pujaniya Sarsanchalak Mohan Bhagawatji's position, is very statesmanly. People like Subramanya Swami, who were very strong on this. Even Subramanya Swami says, let places of Ashipak remain the same, but let us have some exceptions to it, include Kashi and Mathura to it. There are people like Sadhguru, who's a very prominent guru who is respected across the world, supports the position that places of Ashipak need not be disturbed, but one or two or three exceptions can be made. My good friend Jain Saab, his very respected father, our good friend Saidi, but argues for a much stronger position, saying that there has been historical injustices being done, so we should rectify. So there are nuanced positions. Hindu community always had a healthy difference between such hues, and we should respectfully address that. And there are even people like K.K. Muhammad, who goes on record to say that let us accept that there were some injustices in the past. And there are some spaces where if we can have something like an understanding between communities, that will give a lot of goodwill. For example, Janmastans cannot be changed. Sri Ram Janmastan cannot be changed. Sri Krishna Janmastan cannot be changed. There are some places which is having some kind of sanctity that is beyond a temple. Every temple is having utmost sanctity, but beyond a temple, Janmastans have their own, that special accordance. So is there a possibility where we can talk to each other as mature adults, as consensus building individuals? That's what Honorable Supreme Court did when they
Okay.
commissioned people like Sri Ravi Shankar to talk to each other.
So you're saying that, look, let's then resolve that those sites which are of particular reverence to Hindus, maybe the community that is occupying it right now can concede. Right? That's what you're basically saying.
Just one more line. A figure like 30,000 may create a panic button in our Muslim brothers. Let's be honest
so let's
about
not
it.
go
But
to the
there are
larger
some
number,
spaces.
but certainly at least look at those that are of material significance. Okay, Vishnu Shankar Jain ji, now in your interactions, look, I mean, we have all the evidence here. It's very clear visibly also that there was a temple below the structure that is standing right now in the Krishna Bhumi. Now, in your interactions, obviously with the other side, there must have been an opportunity to try and arrive at a compromise. Did you sense that from the Muslim side, or are you just being forceful? Because that is the charge, that you are trying to, scratch at old wounds, you are trying to sort of, create bad blood, as Mr. Chaudhary is suggesting.
Rahul, I think in the beginning of the show, you had quoted the Farman of Aurangzeb.
Yeah.
And the Farman of the Aurangzeb, I don't want to repeat it again and again. It is so demeaning, and it is against the dignity of every individual.
Yeah.
Making a leveling a charge against me that I am trying to scratch the old wounds. If this Farman is there in the history books and this Farman has been acted upon, Rahul, I ask a question to myself: do I have a right to get my dignity back? Don't I have a right to get my glory back? This 13.37 acres of land, Rahul, I must tell you, was auctioned by the British government in 1815, and it was purchased in auction by Raja Patnimal of Banaras in 1815. So the original title documents of this property are with us. and you are sitting over this property by making an illegal encroachment. And today, by a lawsuit, by democratic process, by constitutional process, I want to get this so-called encroachment removed. So you are saying that I am trying to make communal tensions in the country. I am saying, what kind of this tension is this? You have buried my idols in Begum Shahi Mosque of Agra, so that when they go and offer namaz, it can be continually trodden upon. I dare Mr. Kamru Chaudhary that he says that yes, those idols should be brought back. आप जब नमाज
Mr.
पढ़ने जा
Chaudhary?
रहे हैं, मूर्तियों के ऊपर कुचलते हुए जा रहे हैं, और उसके लिए
No, Rahul, Mr. Jain, no need to get excited. There are a lot of violent past that we have gone
No,
through.
this is a
through pages of
current, this is a
history.
present, ongoing,
Wait.
ongoing
No,
problem.
you can come and say that I'm Rahul, that you can.
There's something
you can come
wrong
and,
with the audio, Vishnu Shankar Jain. Yes.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, I can hear you.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Am I audible?
Yes, Mr. Chaudhary,
Okay.
you're saying that, look, leave bygones be bygones. That's what you're saying, right? But when there are individuals, I mean, Vishnu Shankar Jain, why don't you respond? Let bygones be bygones, he says.
Rahul, I want to ask a question. That when this position is argued before the court and outside the court, that once a mosque, always a mosque. Once a waqf, always a waqf. It is on the first principles of Islamic law. Now the Hindu Shastric law is what? Once a temple, always a temple.
That's true.
Once a property vests in the deity, till the end of the time it remains deity's property. Now today, here I am with all the title documents and all the documents saying that this is a case
So
of
let me ask
encroachment.
then, Atikur Rahman, for some people, certain places of worship hold huge significance. And if there is a visible occupation, who is standing in the way? Obviously, it is a community that is occupying that. Has the time come to make a concession in the interests of communal amity, sir?
Wonderful, Rahul. Rahul, the beauty of this entire dispute about the Krishna Janmabhoomi and the Eidgah Masjid is that the battle is fought between the main parties, the contenders, and the fight is in the courts. So both the parties are taking cue from the legalities and the technicalities involved. So better the communities, both Hindus and Muslims, and mainly the political parties are away from it. Whatever is being decided will be decided in the court of law based on the arguments of both the parties, and the court shall decide. What I am worried about is, if any, in the coming days and months and weeks, if any of the political parties take it as their this thing on their manifesto that we will be fighting, so they are away from it, fine, very good. The people of India will be watching what laws are being bypassed, what acts of the parliament in 1991, which gave a sigh of relief to the entire length and breadth of India.
But are you suggesting, sir, that the courts are undermining? No, are you suggesting that the courts are undermining the Place of Worship Act? What are you saying?
No. The Supreme Court the other day, the Supreme Court on the same matter had, gave a very different perception. Then again it went to the High Court, and we are now discussing the High Court matter. Maybe in the Supreme Court the things might change. What I am basing my argument is, let the law of India decide.
Okay, so Mr.
The
Kamru
state
Chaudhary,
of
what is the
India-
hassle?
Just once.
If there are many places of worship that are in dispute, let the matter go to the court. Why are you sitting here and saying that don't scratch at wounds and don't do this and don't do that? Why are you making people feel bad about trying to restore pride in their place of worship or derive dignity? One
Yeah,
second.
Rahul, permit me just 1 minute,
Let them do it.
before I
Let
complete this
let
argument.
them do it, he's saying.
Yeah, let me come to the basic argument out here. The basic argument in the Eidgah case,
Okay, okay.
in the
yeah,
basic
Chaudhary sir.
argument in the Eidgah case of the Allahabad High Court, wherein the RTI filed by Ajay Pratap Singh, that is the basics of the main argument. In November 1920, they found an expert from the book which says portion of the Katra mound which are not in the possession of the Nazul tenants, on which formerly stood a temple of Keshav Dev, which was dismantled and the site utilized. That's a fact. It's a recorded from the history on 1920.
Yeah.
But the point here is that is which being disputed by the Muslim side or the Sunni Waqf board out here is that the mosque does not fall within the 13.77 acres of disputed territory out here. But the point
Exactly.
Mr. Jain wants to come in.
will want to bring in is
Rahul,
that the entire mosque, the entire 13.77 acres, everything is disputed. There is a question of dispute.
Very quickly, Mr. Jain.
Rahul, very interestingly. Now today Mr. Kamru Chaudhary has made a statement before you saying that this mosque is outside the 13.37 acres of land. Precisely this is what his stand is. Now I am asking, this is precisely what we are asking before the Honorable Court, that let's do a survey. Let's do a mean survey. Let's see
I've lost your audio. Yeah. Now it's come back. Yes. You said let's do a survey. Let's do a survey to determine.
Let's do a mean survey to determine that whether this mosque is within 13.37 acres or not.
Okay.
The moment I ask this, Rahul, he will say that your case is not maintainable. It should be nipped in the bud.
Well, viewers, look, the last word has not been said, and we don't want to prejudge any of these issues. These are sensitive matters, but you've heard the arguments on both sides. I think the way forward is the democratic process which Vishnu Shankar Jain is for, and you cannot fault him for believing in something greater than himself. You can't fault him. I leave it at this, viewers. We are coming right back with another big story.
तितकंच आमच्या इतकं त्यांचं ते श्रेय आहे असं मी समजतोय आणि साऱ्या देशवासियांच्या शुभेच्छा आणि त्यांचं प्रेम आहे, यामुळे हे त्याला पुण्यही मिळालेले आहे. माझी आई, माझे आजोब, माझे वडील या सर्वांनी मेहनत करून आम्हाला मोठं केले. आम्हा दोघा भावांना, आम्ही दोघे शिक्षक आहोत आणि त्यांच्या कष्टाचं शीज झालेलं आहे. आम्ही आता मॅच बघताना अगदी आमच्या डोळ्यातून पाणी येत होतं. खरोखर आम्ही सुवर्ण पदकाच्या आशेनं बघत होतो, पण दुर्दैवानं आम्हाला मिळालं नसो. पण माझा तिरंगा झेंडा माझ्या मुलग्यांना खाली पडू दिला नाही, याचा मला सार्थ अभिमान वाटतो.
यासारखे दिग्गज खेळाडू आहेत ते दिले. आम्ही त्याच्यानंतर आता कुसळेचं नाव लागलेलं काय सांगा?
नक्कीच मला अभिमान वाटतो की या जिल्ह्यामध्ये विशेषतः आणि महाराष्ट्रामध्ये बोललं जातं की कुसाळे म्हणजे नेमबाजी, कुसाळे म्हणजे नेमबाजी. कारण यापूर्वी जयसिंगराव कुसाळे नावाचे आमचे एक फार मोठे नेमबाज होऊन गेले, ते वारलेले आहेत आणि आम्ही त्यांच्याच कुटुंबातले आहोत का असं आम्हाला विचारलं जातं. पण त्यांचा परिवार वेगळा, आमचा वेगळा, त्यांचं गाव वेगळं, आमचं गाव वेगळं. आणि पण या ठिकाणी कुसाळे परिवाराचं आणि महाराष्ट्राचं, जिल्ह्याचं, देशाचं नाव स्वप्नील अगदी चांगलं केलेलं आहे. त्याबद्दल आम्हाला गर्व वाटतो. आणि माझं गाव छोटं गाव आहे, 1200 वस्तीचं माझं गाव आहे. आमच्या परिवाराचं, गावाचं नाव त्यांनी उज्ज्वल केलं, यात मला फार मोठा आनंद वाटतो.
तारा चमकू शकतो हे स्वप्नीलनं दाखवून दिलेलं आहे.
जर माणसाची मोठी इच्छाशक्ती असेल तर त्या ठिकाणी अगदी खडकावर सुद्धा असो, डोंगरामध्ये असो, कुठेही माणूस असतो, तो आपला चमक दाखवू शकतो. हे त्यानं स्वप्नीलनं अगदी सिद्ध करून दाखवलेलं आहे. कारण भले पैसा जवळ असो नसो, जर मेहनत असेल आपल्या अंगामध्ये, आपली इच्छाशक्ती मोठी असेल, तर त्या ठिकाणी मात्र माणूस आपलं करिअर त्या टोकापर्यंत पोहोचू शकतो. हे त्याच्या कार्यातून सिद्ध झालेलं आहे. स्वप्निल जो आज पदक जीता है, यह पदक हमें सारे देशवासियों के लिए समर्पित किया है उन्होंने. आज हमें गर्व है कि स्वप्निल का एक स्वप्न था कि मुझे ओलंपिक में पदक जीतना है, अपने परिवार के लिए, गांव के लिए, सारे देशवासियों के लिए उसने पदक जीता है. हमें सभी लोगों को इसका गर्व है, अभिमान भी होता है.
कितने साल से स्वप्निल मेहनत कर रहा है, किस तरह से इसके मेहनत को आप देखेंगे?
जब स्वप्निल ने 8वीं कक्षा पास की, तब से यह अपने नेमबाजी का सराव करता रहा. आज तक उन्होंने कभी अपने इस खेल में कभी आलस नहीं किया, कोई दिरंगाई नहीं की. हमेशा एक दिन वो खाना खाने के लिए रुकता था, लेकिन अपना प्रैक्टिस कभी नहीं उसने रुका दिया. मुझे गर्व है कि हमेशा हम जब फोन करते थे तब यह हमेशा अपने प्रैक्टिस में रहता था. अपने फायरिंग का आवाज हमें सुनने मिलता था जब हम फोन करते तब हमें अच्छा लगता था.
कसं स्वागत आता स्वप्नीलचं करणार आहे, कारण तो आता एक अभिमानाचा क्षण घेऊन परततोय.
हा, आम्ही नक्कीच त्या ठिकाणी अगदी कोल्हापूरपासून त्याचं जंगी स्वागत करू.
External Affairs Minister. Now shifting our attention to another brilliant piece of news coming in from Paris Olympics 2024. Another bronze for India. This is India's Swapnil Kusale, who's bagged a bronze in the 50-meter 3P event, and also the first such medal that India has managed to win in this particular category. India so far has had no medal in the 50-meter 3P event. Remember, as far as 10-meter air rifle is concerned, and in the latest 10-meter air pistol as well, India has been able to prove its mettle. But the first medal ever for India in the 50-meter 3P event, and this is Swapnil Kusale winning a bronze for India this time around. It was a rough start for Swapnil Kusale as far as the medal round is concerned, but the last few shots, ever since the elimination round began, he pretty much has been steady at number 3 and now winning a bronze for India. Great news coming in, a third bronze for the country after Manu Bhaker in 10-meter pistol, followed by Manu Bhaker and Sarabjot Singh combined in 10-meter pistol mixed team event. Now Swapnil Kusale bagging a bronze in the 50-meter 3P event. Another bronze, which means 3 bronze medals for India at the Paris Olympics 2024. This is great news coming in for the shooting contingent. All 3 medals so far, remember, have come in from shooting in different events. All 3 different events: 10-meter pistol, 10-meter pistol mixed team, and now 50-meter 3P event. The family, of course, taking to celebrations already. Let's quickly cut across live reactions coming in.
Viewers, a day after the political boss of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, was assassinated during a visit to Iran, the military commander of Hamas, Mohammad Deif, has been killed in an airstrike in Gaza. Deif was targeted in the strike on a compound in the Khan Yusuf area of Gaza on the 13th of July. Hamas is yet to confirm his death, but what we are being told, viewers, is that Israel, while it did not directly confirm the death of Haniyeh, has, however, in the case of Deif, come out and confirmed that Deif was killed in an Israeli airstrike. Now, viewers, as we know, Deif was one of the figures responsible for planning the 7th October strike on Israel, especially southern Israel, in which 1,200 people were killed and 251 taken hostage. Now, viewers, let's quickly give you a sense of who these individuals are. On the first, of course, is Haniyeh. He is the political chief of Hamas. He was killed in Tehran. And then, of course, you have Deif, who is the number 2, the purported number 2 of the organization. And he apparently has also been knocked out. So, big news coming. And while this particular assassination took place on the 13th of July, it isn't, some people believe, a coincidence that the declaration of Deif's death has been made a day after Haniyeh's death. Now, of course, there is only the third top player, Sinwar, who needs to be eliminated, and many people say that after that, Netanyahu could well and truly come out and say that Israel has won the war and the time for hostilities is over. Deif was on the US list of international terrorists since 2015. So, viewers, he's good riddance. Both Haniyeh and Deif are good riddance. Listen in to what the Israeli defense minister had to say. Okay, he basically said, and let me quote him, viewers, that the Osama bin Laden of Gaza was eliminated on July 13th. This is a significant milestone in the process of dismantling Hamas as a military and governing authority in Gaza. This operation reflects the fact that Hamas is disintegrating and that Hamas terrorists may either surrender or they will be eliminated. Israel's defense establishment will pursue Hamas terrorists, both the planners and the perpetrators of the October 7th massacre. We will not rest until this mission is accomplished, unquote. Now, absurdly, instead of welcoming the news of the killings, many West Asian countries and some so-called rights activists here in India also have expressed outrage as Israel. Iran, for instance, is threatening war and Pakistan has demanded action against Israel. Shockingly, Palestinian President Abbas has declared a day of mourning to mark the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. This proves that Palestine, that some Indians cry buckets over, is mostly anti-Semitic and an enabler of Islamist exclusivism. After all, how can Haniyeh be a hero for any country, especially when Haniyeh has proclaimed that he was committed to, number one, denying Jewish state Israel's right to exist. Basically, he was genocidal. Number two, backing armed struggle against Israel, which has led to conflicts and violence. Basically, he was an Islamist hate monger, supremacist. Three, the use of anti-Semitic language. Basically, he was a bigot. Persecution to death of religious minorities belonging to Shia community, political opponents, LGBTQI activists, and feminists. Basically, he was a sociopath. And now let's also examine the other thug, Mohammad Deif's record. The military commander has called for a military solution to eliminate Jews. Deif has praised terror attacks on Jews, who he has referred to as, quote, the descendants of apes and pigs, unquote. Deif has also blamed Jews for the, quote, corruption of humanity, unquote. Obviously, this bigot has been reading Hitler's Mein Kampf. Viewers, let's open this up. Let's have a conversation. Israel has avenged the October 7 attacks to quite an extent. So why is there outrage against Israel? They're only doing things to protect their own population from genocidal thugs. Nilofer Masood, leader of the National Conference, is here with us. I'm sure you're celebrating that Israel has been able to eliminate these threats to humanity, these listed terrorists, globally listed terrorists. Ms. Masood. I can't hear you. I think you might be on mute. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, ma'am. Yes.
Well, Rahul, we need to be very clear about the policy which our country has adopted. What is the role, what is the actual policy which our country has adopted vis-a-vis the Palestine? If we are supporting them on one platform, we cannot say that what Gaza has, what Israel is doing today, we need to endorse that. Rightly said by you that if any country is against any militancy or terrorism, India has been standing with those countries. And we as a country today believe that any country which is against, which is taking any step against the terrorism, India is supporting them. But we need to clarify our policies. At international level, when we support Palestine, we have to be very clear, actually, whom are we supporting? Are we supporting the Israel? Are we supporting the Palestine? Because there have been, in recent past, there have been some affairs against the people who have hosted the flag of the Palestine also. So we have to be very clear.
No, I'm confused, very confused by your response, Ms. Masood. I want to ask you a specific question. Now, you said that we should never support anyone that supports terrorists. And I think that's a fair proposition, isn't it? So how should we support Palestine, where its president is marking the death of Haniyeh, who's an anti-Semite, who says that all Jews should be killed?
Shankar, it is neither you, it is neither me who can decide actually the international policies.
No, I'm asking you, what is your position? What is your position? Do you sympathize with?
We cannot raise any question on the policies which have already been adopted by our country.
No. I'm asking you a simple question, Ms. Masood. I'm asking you a simple question.
Our country has to be very clear and specific on the point whether we support Palestine or not.
We have been very clear, but there are political leaders in our country.
No, hang on, Ms. Masood.
Let me remind you.
Who have hosted the flag of Palestine?
No.
Why is there dual policy? Why are there affairs against the people who have hosted flags of the Palestine?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? It's obvious because today Palestine has thrown in its lot with people like Haniyeh, who are sworn to actually, no, hang on, listen to me, who are sworn to liberate Kashmir. from India. Are you in favor of that policy of Mr.
I
Haniyeh
don't
and
know
the Palestinian
how
government?
you are getting those connections. How you are
No,
getting
I'm
those
not getting those
connections?
connections.
And
Those are
saying that
standard.
get
No,
the
hang on.
liberation
No, madam,
and get
no.
Kashmir liberated. Nobody is supporting that.
Today,
We believe
hang
in
on.
our constitution.
Your bleeding hearts are actually today for a large number of Kashmiri youth, you're saying, who have been arrested for flying the Palestine flag. Do you know
No,
Palestine? No, hang on. Ma'am, please, let me finish. Because you see, you asked me, how are you getting all these facts? So now I'm telling you these facts. And the facts are that the leadership in Palestine has supported the right to self-determination of Kashmir. How, as an Indian who swears by the Indian Constitution, can you and I support a government or an authority or a people that are looking to break our country? I'm asking you. So what else should the government do?
Tell me, Rahul, only one thing. What is the stand which our country has taken?
Yes.
Whether it is in favor of Palestine or against?
No, we are not against anybody, and we are not in favor of anybody
Against
either.
Palestine,
We have
then how can you
actually
celebrate? Then
taken
how
very
can you
neutral
celebrate
positions.
this?
Okay,
How
let
can
me
you
open this
celebrate
up.
the success of the Israel? How can
Okay.
you celebrate it?
Okay, let me.
You have to be very clear. You
Why
cannot
shouldn't
stand on the two boats.
Why shouldn't you? These are international
You
global
cannot
terrorists.
stand on the two boats. First, you need to clarify your policy.
We have clarified
It
our
is not, I'm
policy.
not talking about the FIRs which have been lodged
The
against the
government of
people in
India,
Jammu and
the
Kashmir.
government of
But
India
I'm
has
talking of
condemned.
the FIRs which have
Has
been lodged
condemned.
against the rest of the people
Why
of
shouldn't
the
they
India
be?
who have
Why
hosted
shouldn't they be?
flags.
Why should you be hoisting the flags of Palestinians who are coming out there and saying very clearly that they are for the right to self-determination? Anyhow, let me just open this up. Let me bring in some other voices. Here we are umbraging at this fact. Sushant
Well,
Sareen,
Rahul, let
yes.
me clarify. Flags were
Madam,
not hosted by the people of Jammu and Kashmir, but in the rest of the India, in the recent
yeah, so we
Muharram
need to
Jalsas which
take
had taken
action
place.
against those people who
Yes.
have misplaced
So why
sympathies, who are
should action
raising
be
the
taken?
Hamas
Because
flag.
once the government is
Okay,
supporting
one minute.
Palestine,
Let me
if
bring in.
somebody hosts a flag
No,
in their
no.
favor,
There's a
why
difference.
should FIR be
There
lodged
is a
against that
difference between
person?
supporting Hamas, inviting Hamas leaders to give lectures to Indian
First, we
youth.
need to clarify our
One second.
stand.
No, why? We are very clear. We don't stand
Yes.
with Hamas. We stand with the poor innocents of Palestine, but not with Hamas.
For
No, one
Palestine,
second. Let
and
me bring
in
in.
that second, let me say
Madam,
that we are celebrating
Okay.
Israel's success.
Let the others speak also. Let's get a view. You've asked some questions. Let me get a view. Sushant Sareen, we need to make a very, very clear distinction between the Hamas and the Palestinians. I'm sorry, I blurred the lines because, let me be very honest with you, Palestinians who voted and elected and allowed themselves to be ruled by the Hamas and in informal elections, in surveys, etc., continue to support the Hamas with 50-50% mandates, even in the other territory, which is the West Bank. I'm sorry, I lump them all together, but you can differ with me. Why should we be bleeding hearts for these craven individuals?
Well, we shouldn't be, and frankly speaking, I would agree with you that yes, we should make a distinction between the Palestinians and Hamas and the other terrorist groups in that region. But it's not only us who should make that distinction, the Palestinians themselves should make that distinction. And clearly, when they don't make that distinction, then it creates a problem. Now, the lady keeps asking, what is our policy? What is our stand? Our stand is very clear. India is in favor of a two-state solution. That is the official position. We are in favor of a two-state solution. We believe that a two-state solution should come by, in a negotiated manner. We are against terrorism, and I think the government of India has come out very, very clearly against what happened on October 7th and the kind of massacres that were carried out. We have also counseled restraint on Israel. But then, we have limited kind of capital on that count. So there is something we can say, and beyond that, we can't go. Our voting record in the United Nations itself dictates what our policy has been. And in our own way, we are very clear about what our policy is. Now, the problem, however, is that there is a Muslim street around the world, including in India. For example, we have two people sitting on your panel. Please ask them, do they consider Burhan Wani a terrorist or not? And you will get a wishy-washy answer. You will not get a clear answer. That's the same kind of an approach which somebody like Abu Mazen or Mahmoud Abbas uses in the West Bank. Because he's afraid of the Muslim street. He does not have the political courage or the political capital or the political intellect to come out openly and stand against terrorism. So he'll hunt with the hound and he'll run with the hare.
Yes.
That is what the problem is.
So let me
We see that
ask that question. I think it's a very good question, and General Bakshi is also there. Ahmed Ayaz, let me ask you. In 2019, Palestine's UN Ambassador Riyad Mansour expressed support for Pakistan's position on Kashmir. We know that. In 2020, President Mahmoud Abbas reiterated Palestine's support for Pakistan's stance on Kashmir during a meeting with Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan. Has the time come, Mr. Ahmed Ayaz, to renounce, and denounce diplomatically Palestine?
You see, this is true, Rahul, and it is being proved by the, you can see that whenever any conflict arises or it exists somewhere, as we are talking about Palestine and Israel, or there's conflict between Russia and then Ukraine, and then there are problems with Jammu and Kashmir also, then there is a nationalism also. You see, point is, when all these things happen, a conflict takes place, it exists somewhere. The world over problem is that the world does not take one side.
Mr. Ayaz, I'm asking you a simple question. I'm putting you, forget the other people. I'm asking, what does Ahmed Ayaz believe? Are you with Iran today? Are you with Palestine today? Or are you with Israel today? Simple question.
We are with anyone while any excessive cause against one, any जैसे हम कह रहे हैं किसी के साथ जुल्म हो रहा है, we are with that. Whoever it is. It is not Iran, it is not the Palestinian, it can be anybody.
Oh, I'm asking you a specific question. Are you with, sir, Iran and Palestine, that little nexus, or are you with Israel?
Yes, to me, let me take a stand. Yes. Let me take a stand. To me, there is a problem on behalf of the Israel. On Palestinian, they kill people. Yes, I stand. I say that they need to be had. If you mean me to take a clear stand.
So you're saying that the Palestinians are bad people, that they're terrorists?
No, I don't say. I say there are excessive cause on them. They have their own issues. It is not that they are simply in a conflict or they are fighting against Israel. They have a reason. They have an issue.
They have an issue.
A root cause needs to be addressed.
They have an issue. They have a root cause, which is the elimination of Israel. That's the root cause. Now, see, viewers, Palestine under the Hamas, at least the Gaza Strip under the Hamas, and perhaps even now, I don't know, under the Palestine Authority, who is thrown in their lot with Haniyehs of the world, etc., viewers, view this not as a two-state solution at all. They view it as a either them or us situation. General Bakshi, I don't know why there are so many Indians who can't take a firm stand against Palestine when A, it votes against us on Kashmir. Number two, when its own leaders espouse the kind of views that I have just read out to the world, and you yourself, where do you stand on this, General Saab?
Look, Rahul, some of these people speak because of their domestic political compulsions, their desires to cultivate vote banks among specific religious minorities, and that colors their entire outlook to what is straightforward right and wrong. On the 7th of October, we had a heinous terrorist attack on an unprecedented scale, which killed 1,200 Israeli women, children, old, infirm, indiscriminate slaughter. And you saw the way women were being dragged out, women were being raped, and there were people who were gloating. 250 terrorists were taken, out of which half are still being in the captivity of Hamas. So what do you expect Israel to do? Israel has to hit back. Israel has no other option but to hit back, and they have hit back hard. Unlike us, they have not espoused Gandhian,
restraint and so on and so forth. Yes, exactly.
They have hit their enemies and hit them hard.
Yeah. Yes. So let me ask Ms. Masood to respond to General Bakshi. Why do Palestinians deserve 100% backing and Israel deserves 0% backing, when Palestinians never even condemned, as a whole people never condemned what happened on October 7. I never saw anyone in the Gaza Strip lighting a candle for any of the 1,200 Israelis that were butchered.
I'll just put a straight question to you, Rahul. Just tell me, Hamas is supported by which country?
It is supported by a large number of Muslim countries.
It is supported by the Iran. It is supported by the Iran. And what are our relations with the Iran?
Okay. So you're saying at a personal level.
Hang
on. One minute. Israel is also supported. No, hang on. Israel is
against the Hamas. You need to be against those countries also.
Miss Masood, Israel is also supported by America, isn't it?
Against the brutal killings, you're saying that. I also support. I support humanity. I'm not here to support anybody.
No, so I'm asking you. So then I'm asking you. I'm asking you then. Would you ever raise a flag for Israel? It's a simple question. Since you support humanity, will you?
I don't think we need to raise. Especially me need to raise a flag in favor of this Israel, because of the reason they have been involved in the mass genocide. They have been involved in the killing of the mass genocide, in the killing of the children.
Have you seen
the bodies of the children which are being carried by the coffins which are being carried by the parents?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. On October 7th,
do you think to celebrate
on October 7th? On October 7th, excuse me, madam. I'm asking you, Miss Masood, on October 7th, what happened to Israel? Do you support Israel?
There have been so many October 7 in the Palestine itself.
So two wrongs make a right.
So viewers,
here we have it. Here we have the response. This is the response I was looking for, and I think Sushant Sareen is absolutely right. I think Sushant Sareen, you have your answer, don't you?
No, I didn't need an answer because I knew where the lady was coming from, and there is this typical obfuscation of things.
Where do I come from? Where do I come from? I do come from the part of India. You need to realize that. I don't live in Israel, neither in Palestine.
He's meaning it rhetorically, ma'am. The point of view that you come from. He's not talking about your geography. He's talking about the point of view that you come from. He's saying that you have an sympathy for Islamists who have declared a war on humanity at large. Okay, Sushant Sareen, you were saying something.
Rahul, how can I speak? When lady keeps interrupting me, it's not
go ahead,
possible.
Please go ahead.
So I think there is this typical obfuscation which happens that Iran supports Hamas, India supports Iran, so that means India must be supporting Hamas. I don't know how this logic operates. It doesn't, right? The other thing is that if people had come out openly and publicly and said that look, what happened on October 7th, it deserves the strongest condemnation possible, and that yes, those people need to be brought to justice, come hell or high water, then I would understand where people would say that look, maybe Israel is using some excessive force, maybe they need to show some restraint. Now that can be a point of view. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that can be a point of view I can appreciate. Then there is this entire factor that when a terrorist leader is killed, there are people who, issue statements, celebrating his life or condemning his killing. That also betrays a certain sentiment.
Yes.
You see, point is that if the guy was a decent bloke, then yes, of course, by all means, you should commiserate his death. But the moment you start commiserating his death of a terrorist, then I think I have a serious problem.
I mean, he has reduced Jews, he has dehumanized them. He says they're pigs. I mean, can you believe it, viewers? And we have people who are raising, the Palestine flag here. I just don't get it.
The irony is that the Jews actually preceded the Muslims in that entire area, right?
Yes.
So if they are the progeny of pigs and whatever, then so are the Muslims of that area.
Well, I mean, I'll just say something. I'm not getting into this. I'm not getting into this sort of, debate. But the point is, viewers, we have to rise above the gutter, And if people who live in the gutter and behave like individuals in the gutter do, and when they get a comeuppance, then we should be very clear morally where we stand on that. I leave it at this, viewers.
मला खात्री होते मला खात्री होती की गेल्या 12-13 वर्षाची स्वप्नची तपश्चर्या, त्याचं जे कष्ट आहे तो कधी भुलणार नाही आणि आपला तिरंगा झेंडा तो कधीही खाली पडू देणार नव्हता याची मला खात्री होती. भले तो तिसरा आला तरी चालेल, पण त्यानं तिरंगा ध्वज आपला फडकत ठेवलेला आहे याचा मला अभिमान वाटतो. धन्यवाद.
भारत देशात सगळा झेंडा पत्करला त्याचा अभिमान आहे मला. जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र.
वाटत आहे की माझ्या भावाने आपल्या देशासाठी ब्रॉन्झ मेडल मिळालं, त्याबद्दल मी सर्व देशवासियांचे आभारी आहे आणि पूर्ण सगळे जगातले ज्यांनी ज्यांनी बघितले आहे त्यांना सर्वांचे मी मनपूर्वक आभारी आहे.
काय कशा पद्धतीने सपोर्ट केला तुम्ही फॅमिली म्हणून?
गेले अनेक वर्षे, गेले 14-15 वर्ष आम्ही त्याच्यासाठी जे परिवार कष्ट सुचलेलं आहे ते आम्ही शब्दामध्ये बोलू शकत नाही. फार मोठा तपश्चर्या आमची आहे आणि यामध्ये त्याचं फार मोठं कष्ट जे आहे त्याचं कष्ट फार मोठं आहे हे आम्ही विसरून चालत नाही.
किती मोठं योगदान याच्यामध्ये वाटतंय आपल्याला? आपलं योगदान तर आहे, पण
आमच्या परिवाराचं योगदान आहेच. त्याशिवाय त्याच्या ज्या कोच मॅडम आहेत, दीपाली देशपांडे मॅडम, हे यांचं फार मोठं श्रेय आहे. कारण त्यांना परवाच गुरुपौर्णिमेची बोलून दाखवलेलं आहे की माझ्या त्या कोचच नाहीत दीपाली देशपांडे मॅडम, तर त्या माझ्या आई सुद्धा आहेत आणि तेवढ्या माझी ते काळजी घेत आहेत. त्यामुळं दीपाल देशपांडे यांचं तितकंच आमच्या इतकं त्यांचं ते श्रेय आहे असं मी समजतोय आणि साऱ्या देशवासियांच्या शुभेच्छा आणि त्यांचं प्रेम आहे, यामुळे हे त्याला पुण्यही मिळालेले आहे. माझी आई, माझे आजोब, माझे वडील या सर्वांनी मेहनत करून आम्हाला मोठं केलं. आम्हा दोघा भावांना, आम्ही दोघेही शिक्षक आहोत आणि त्यांच्या कष्टाचं चीज झालेलं आहे. आम्ही आता मॅच बघताना अगदी आमच्या डोळ्यातून पाणी येत होतं. खरोखर आम्ही सुवर्ण पदकाच्या आशेनं बघत होतो, पण दुर्दैवानं आम्हाला मिळालं नसो, पण माझा तिरंगा झेंडा माझ्या मुलगांना खाली पडू दिला नाही याचा मला सार्थ अभिमान वाटतो.
यासारखे दिग्गजने खेळाडू आहेत ते दिले आम्ही. त्याच्यानंतर आता कुसळेचं नाव लागलेलं काय सांगा?
नक्कीच मला अभिमान वाटतो की या जिल्ह्यामध्ये विशेषतः आणि महाराष्ट्रामध्ये बोललं जातं की कुसाळे म्हणजे नेमबाजी, कुसाळे म्हणजे नेमबाजी. कारण यापूर्वी जयसिंगराव कुसाळे नावाचे आमचे एक फार मोठे नेमबाज होऊन गेले, ते वारलेले आहेत आणि आम्ही त्यांच्याच कुटुंबातले आहोत का असं आम्हाला विचारलं जातं. पण त्यांचा परिवार वेगळा, आमचा वेगळा, त्यांचं गाव वेगळं, आमचं गाव वेगळं आणि पण या ठिकाणी कुसाळे परिवाराचं आणि महाराष्ट्राचं, जिल्ह्याचं, देशाचं नाव स्वप्नील अगदी चांगलं केलेलं आहे. त्याबद्दल आम्हाला गर्व वाटतो आणि माझं गाव छोटं गाव आहे, 1200 वस्तीचं माझं गाव आहे. आमच्या परिवाराचं, गावाचं नाव त्यांनी उज्ज्वल केलं, यात मला फार मोठा आनंद वाटतो.
तारा चमकू शकतो हे स्वप्नीलनं दाखवून केलेलं आहे.
हा, जर माणसाची मोठी इच्छाशक्ती असेल तर त्या ठिकाणी अगदी खडकावर सुद्धा असो, डोंगरामध्ये असो, कुठेही माणूस असो, तो आपला चमक दाखवू शकतो. हे त्यानं स्वप्नीलनं अगदी सिद्ध करून दाखवलेलं आहे. कारण भले पैसा जवळ असो नसो, जर मेहनत असेल आपल्या अंगामध्ये, आपली इच्छाशक्ती मोठी असेल तर त्या ठिकाणी मात्र माणूस आपलं करिअर त्या टोकापर्यंत पोहोचू शकतो. हे त्याच्या कार्यातून सिद्ध झालेलं आहे. स्वप्निल जो आज पदक जीता है, यह पदक हमें सारे देशवासियों के लिए समर्पित किया है उन्होंने. आज हमें गर्व है कि स्वप्निल का एक स्वप्न था कि मुझे ओलंपिक में पदक जीतना है, अपने परिवार के लिए, गांव के लिए, सारे देशवासियों के लिए उसने पदक जीता है. हमें सभी लोगों को इसका गर्व है, अभिमान भी होता है.
कितने साल से स्वप्निल मेहनत कर रहा है, किस तरह से इसके मेहनत को आप देखेंगे?
जब स्वप्निल ने 8वीं कक्षा पास की तब से यह अपने नेमबाजी का सराव करता रहा. आज तक उन्होंने कभी अपने इस खेल में कभी आलस नहीं किया, कोई दिरंगाई नहीं की. हमेशा एक दिन वो खाना खाने के लिए रुकता था, लेकिन अपना प्रैक्टिस कभी नहीं उसने रुका दिया. मुझे गर्व है कि हमेशा हम जब फोन करते थे तब यह हमेशा अपने प्रैक्टिस में रहता था. अपने फायरिंग का आवाज हमें सुनने मिलता था जब हम फोन करते तब हमें अच्छा लगता था.
CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Prime Time Studio.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I'm Anand Narasimhan, coming to you live from the CNN News 18 and Federal Bank Primetime studio. First up, Swapnil Kusale has added a third medal for Bharat in the medals tally at the Paris Olympics 2024 by winning a bronze in the men's 50-meter three positions final. So far, Bharat has won 3 bronze, all coming from shooting. The centre on Tuesday informed that 755 applications have been approved across 14 key sectors under the Production-Linked Incentive or the PLI schemes. An investment of 1.23 lakh crore rupees have been realised till March, resulting in around 8 lakh jobs. In good news for the coal and mine sector, Minister G. Kishan Reddy has informed the Lok Sabha on the 31st of July that Bharat has registered its highest ever coal production in a year during the financial year 24 at 997.828